Hey everyone, welcome back to Sports Tea. I'm really excited for tonight's episode, and I want to thank you all for waiting for me. As everyone comes into the room, please do me a favor and smash the like button, share the video when you get a chance, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I do want to take a moment to shout out Do It D and Sports Facts for their $10 Cash App donations. I really appreciate it. I also want to go ahead and shout out the members of Sports Tea. We have Coach Marcus, Jamie Costello, Silvio Manuel, Lester's Banana, Wise Guy 23, Leon Jones, Right Hand Cam, Main Event, Brown B, Ill Will 42, Kedrian Hardy, William Wright, Lewis Matthews, Charles Hookah, Lisa Taylor, Brenda, Meg XD, Reginald McLendon, Panama 135, V Dub, Saeed Gore, Zeno Omega, Spurs Ann, Ron C23, Blanco Smoke, Carl for President Anthony, Force Ghost Fabio, Yazid Yair Bay, T-Bert the Twin, Relax and Focus, All Gravy, WW, Neil Howlett, Von Chris Cordova, KM, Big Al Master Chief, Mikey Brass, Sports Facts, Jeffrey Guyett, Christopher Baldwin, and It's Not That Serious. I'm so grateful for you guys, for this community that we have, that we're continuing to build. So thank you all for being members. Thank you for generously donating to the channel. It means a lot to me, and I really appreciate you all. Let's see who's in the chat tonight. Coach Marcus, I know you're trying to hang in there. I I have to be up for work early too, so I'm going to try to get us all through this show and make it exciting, but also, move things along. So, hopefully you can hang in there, especially for this first topic because it is just really great, honestly. Gabe Moore, salute to you. Frankie Fernandez, salute, salute. Horizon Vibes, Pizza Time. Ron C, Lee Kenny, Nufo, Spurs Ann, salute to you. How's everybody doing? Ace of Rage, Brother Juma, That Man, salute to you guys. Yes, we are back at it again tonight. Josh Gould, AU66, Funky Town, D Frequency. Hey, Kurt, how are you? Yes, we're going to get into what Isaiah Thomas said. I'm really, really excited for this. He had such a great interview with Mark Jackson, and, you know, he always has inconsistencies in his interviews. I think that Isaiah Thomas does this on purpose oftentimes. I think that right now, this interview was more of a call to action. It was a call to action for, we're seeing an influx of old heads coming out. They're coming out, they're speaking, they're speaking out against what they perceive to be an injustice. And they're starting to band together by era. They're starting to click up. Okay, guys, let's hit the like button as you're coming in. Like I said, I know it's late. I'm going to try my best to kind of get through the show in a way where, we're taking brief phone calls and we're just sort of, moving along. So I do want to just say to the members to be on the lookout for some members only content. I really am super excited for that. I have a great recording lined up for you guys, but don't forget to hit the like button as you come into the room. I appreciate you guys being here with me tonight. So let's just go ahead and get started. As you know, I have mentioned Isiah Thomas and the interview he had with Mark Jackson before. We talked about it briefly on, what was it, Saturday night? And he was telling us so many great stories, and he seemed to have a lot of respect for Mark Jackson, just as a player, as a coach. And by this point, this is part 2 of the interview, and Mark Jackson, he's comfortable enough to ask about handshake-gate. And I don't know if everybody who's in the room with us tonight, if you guys remember what that was and what I'm referring to, but basically it goes back to the 1991 finals where Zeke, Bill Laimbeer, the Pistons, they walked off the floor. They refused to shake the hands of the Chicago Bulls after they beat them and finally got over the hump of the bad boy Pistons. And Isiah Thomas in particular was heavily criticized for being a sore loser and having poor sportsmanship. And I want to play a soundbite for you guys. It is pretty long. I may pause it to remember a specific point I want to emphasize in between, or even just to break up some of the sound, but it's really good. And Zeke, he's sharing his perspective on the situation, and I want everybody to hear this, and then we'll react together.
Another question for me, and I don't know your feelings about it. I know you experienced it. But one thing I don't believe in is everybody line up and handshake, whether it's college or basketball or pro basketball at the end of the game. I don't feel like shaking your hand. I love to compete, and I'm not mad at you. But Kobe Bryant, late great Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal win the championship, eliminate us, shatter our dreams. I don't want to shake your hand. I want to go back in the locker room and pout, poke my lip out, poke my lip out and pout. I'm upset. Your feelings on the handshake? I know you experienced walking to the back, but I was sitting there like, yeah, that's cool.
So up until 1991, when the Detroit Pistons got swept by the Chicago Bulls, nobody expected a handshake. Now, Mark, tell me if I'm wrong now. So after 1991, and they said, oh, Isiah didn't shake Michael Jordan's hand, and Michael Jordan, oh, Isiah didn't shake my hand, and they was crying about not getting their hand shook. That's when everybody started, after 1991, shaking hands. Hey, y'all see me now. I'm shaking his hand. That's when the handshake started. Now, I'm going to refresh your memory. When y'all was losing in the playoffs, the winning team or the losing team, after everybody left the floor, they would come into the locker room and shake your hand and say good luck. It wasn't a passing of the torch and everybody watching and all. That was such BS that they labeled. It was just BS. Because here's what I'm asking. Anybody who's watching or anybody who remembers, go find me the picture of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird shaking hands after a loss, after they played each other, right? Y'all go find me that picture of Magic Johnson, Larry Bird shaking each other's hands after one of them has beat the other. That didn't happen until 1991 when the Chicago Bulls, because they cried all the time, when they was like, oh, they didn't shake our hands, so forth and so on. Now, when we beat the Celtics walked off the floor, and we was happy that they had taught us so much, and they didn't need to be on the floor watching us celebrate. That was the respect that you gave to your opponent after you beat them. Now, if you notice, in the championship games or whatever, they had a trophy presentation out front so everybody can see. The losing team still goes into their locker room. All that used to be done behind closed doors, the shaking hands and all that other stuff. But, you know, since the Bulls cried about it so much, now everybody, you know, hey, look now, I'm not that guy. I'm not doing what, I'm shaking hands. You see me shaking his hand, right? Shaking his hand.
You're not feeling you don't like the jersey swaps?
Oh, now that I know how much them jerseys cost, I'll take a jersey. I wish I'd have got all of them jerseys. People pay a lot of money for those jerseys. So yeah, I'm down with the jersey swap. I ain't mad at that.
Can you imagine if social media existed back then with no handshake? It would have been the trending topic, #1 trending topic in the land.
It wouldn't have been the trending topic because back then, didn't nobody shake hands. In football, basketball, baseball, you lost. When you lost, you left the field. And when you wanted to congratulate another guy, you congratulate. There wasn't no lining up.
So you're not with the participation trophy and all that.
Man, I played for Coach Knight, okay? Ain't no way in hell he would have let us line up after we done lost to another team and walk down and everybody shake. He wasn't shaking the other coach's hand. But now, that's not bad sportsmanship. Old school, now all jokes aside, old school was you played so hard, you put so much into the game, you are so hurt because you've lost. Old school winners understood the guy who lost, we need to let them gather themselves and cool down because, you know, it's emotional. Losing hurts. And so you granted that guy the grace to get himself together before you had some type of public display. And you granted the champion the respect of doing it privately as opposed to making him, you know, hey, again, we didn't want the Celtics to publicly shake our hand and pass it. No, they have been great champions for a long time, and they were all teachers. So we given them the grace and the understanding. It's okay. We never made a big deal about it. The Lakers never made a big deal about the Celtics not shaking their hand. The Celtics never made a big deal about the Lakers not shaking their hand. Philadelphia never made a big deal about. Mark, I never heard y'all make a big deal about, you know, the Celtics didn't shake your hand. The only team in history that is still talked about today. Oh, they didn't shake our hand. Y'all won 6 championships. You won 6. And you still hung up on didn't nobody shake your hand. Come on, man.
Now you brought up the late great Bob Knight, and I actually just recently, our legendary college coach Lou Condesecca passed away, a month away from his 100th birthday, and the impact that he had on me is incredible. But even though both of them are all-time great coaches, they had different styles. And quite honestly, I say this as respectfully as possible. I could never play for Bobby Knight. Just my brand of basketball and what I needed from a coach, I couldn't play for him. Why?
Okay. I can listen to that interview so many times, even the non-salient portions of it. I really like to hear Mark Jackson talk. I just think he's so wonderful. Isaiah Thomas, I love to see what kind of shade or curveball he's going to throw, what he's going to try, what hot take he's going to try to, put out there, and what narrative he's going to push. Um, for me, I appreciated the question that Mark Jackson asked Isaiah Thomas and how he related to him regarding the handshake in the 1991 finals loss to the Bulls. I felt like the handshake blow up was bullshit. I'll be really honest. Michael Jordan might be the best player we've ever seen, but he wasn't perfect. He was close to it, but he did use the media to cry about things. He did cry about the physicality to the media, but it was truly brutal. I mean, he wasn't crying for no reason. The NBA did make it possible for Michael Jordan to fly through the air. This is true. For guys to try to injure you and pull you down midair because you can fly is crazy. But the league did change for Michael Jordan. But Michael Jordan was balling the fuck out, whether it was football, boxing, or rugby being played and officiated at the time. So it wasn't like Michael Jordan needed the league to help him succeed. Michael Jordan didn't need the NBA's help. The NBA wanted to promote a better brand of basketball. They wanted to see him high flying in the air. If Michael Jordan wasn't high flying, he still would have been a great player. It wasn't like he couldn't score unless the refs were helping him. It wasn't like he couldn't score the ball and average, I think he averaged 37 playing a point guard role. I think he also led the league in assists that year. And the league was super physical. I mean, he was losing early in his career, but the league helping Michael Jordan as far as the physicality was concerned was not because he wasn't a great player. It wasn't because he couldn't succeed. It was just because the NBA wanted to promote a better brand of basketball. They wanted to highlight, the athletic prowess of Michael Jordan and players to come after him. And that's what they did. They just wanted to showcase Michael Jordan flying through the air. Not they were trying to help him win games. No. So, I do want to say, yes, Michael Jordan cried, but we genuinely got a better brand of basketball out of it. Imagine if Michael Jordan had a career ending injury from being pulled down as he's flying in the air. Would there be a Kobe Bryant? Would there be a LeBron James? What kind of players would they be if Jordan never became Jordan? Now, I want to say some critical things as well, because I wouldn't be telling the truth on this channel like I always set out to do. But I do believe that just like in today's league and in the media, there was protection for certain players back then as well. Once Michael Jordan ascended, and maybe even before he actually ascended, the media was on his side, calling the Pistons bad boys and thugs. Michael Jordan let these narratives work very hard for him. And he contributed to it when he had opportunities to do so in the media by saying that they were classless, by saying that they had bad sportsmanship. Michael Jordan was the ultimate player. He was the ultimate teammate as well as the ultimate competitor. He wanted to be recognized by the person he beat. And he wants them to say it to him that he's the greatest. That's what he was looking for, validation. I'm sure early on in his career, he looked up to Isiah Thomas, like he said he did. And he was looking for his approval, quite frankly. He was looking for his approval. He was looking for his respect. I think that that's normal. He wanted to belong to the fraternity. It wasn't just about the handshake. He wanted to be accepted by Isiah Thomas. It wasn't just about the Pistons walking off the court and not congratulating them. It wasn't just about that. He wanted to be accepted by Isiah Thomas as a champion, accepted as a champion and getting over the hump. In The Last Dance, when Michael Jordan spoke on Isiah Thomas, These are the things that I heard. These are the messages within the messages that I heard from what he was saying. When he talked about getting frozen out at the All-Star game. Excuse me. When he talked about that, I just believe that I do believe that there's a part of Michael Jordan that needed to create narratives for himself in his head and create these stories that weren't even true so that he could compete. He talked about that briefly as well, and I think he said things to the press in order to help motivate himself to win and get better and better every year. Everything that Isiah Thomas said in this clip, it made sense and it sounds great, but there was a click and Jordan wanted to be part of it. He felt left out. I believe that no, guys were not buddy-buddy, but for whatever reason before games, Isiah Thomas and Magic Johnson would kiss on the cheek because they respected each other as the best point guards in the game. They were tough competitors. They had respect for one another. So when you hear Isiah Thomas logically explain why it doesn't make sense to shake your opponent's hand and how it was never popular to do so, it to me, basically what he's doing is, when we talk a lot about word salads and things like that, I don't think it was a word salad. What he's doing is he's telling a half truth. He's saying something that's true. He's telling us something that's logical and makes sense, but it wasn't what it actually was. Isiah Thomas kissed Magic Johnson before games. It wasn't about the president of shaking hands and oh, we don't do that. That wasn't the culture. It wasn't about that. It was about approval of the young buck that finally broke through. It was personal. It wasn't about what was normal or not normal. It wasn't about sportsmanship either. Michael Jordan wanted to be in the secret society. He wanted to be a part of the clique that Isiah Thomas had. I'm not sure he wanted a kiss on the cheek, but he wanted to be in their social group. And fast forward to when he ascends, he winds up alienating Isiah Thomas. He winds up freezing him out of the Olympics, no less. Who knows what else this personal beef has escalated to? When people tell a lie, it's usually very convincing. They say things that are mainly true to cover up the lie so that we can't catch it. When you see pictures of Magic Johnson and Isiah Thomas, multiple pictures like this in a collage in color and black and white with different jerseys on, different players in the background, it's hard to think that Isiah Thomas didn't believe in sportsmanship. What makes it worse is that they would kiss on the cheek before games, not after, but before. That should be the point where you are most laser focused on eviscerating your opponent. So I can understand why Michael Jordan wanted Isiah's attention. But I don't think that this is a big deal at all, guys. I'm going to be very honest with you. I thought that this was a stupid topic during the last dance. And yeah, I thought that Michael Jordan was super petty for leaving Isiah Thomas off of the Olympics team for being a part of that decision. And I do think that it was not just Michael Jordan. I think that Magic Johnson truly did not want him on the team as well because of the rumors that he was spreading about his sexuality after his diagnosis. And I think that Michael Jordan did not like that at all. But again, when you see pictures like this, it's hard to it's hard to really take Isiah Thomas's account of what happened back then and why they didn't shake their hand and look, I don't care that they didn't shake their hand. I don't think that people need a handshake. You won. You mopped the floor with that team. You finally broke through. You don't need their approval. You don't need their congratulations. And yeah, they lost. Let them hold their head down and walk through the tunnel. That was way more entertaining than them lining up, shaking a hand. Yeah, walk off the court. You just got beat. But again, I understand why Michael Jordan wanted Isiah Thomas's attention. But, you know, Michael Jordan, I think that even he realized later that the handshake didn't matter. Even though he still talked about it, I don't think that he was looking for handshakes after every title. I think it became a lot less important after going through that, and somebody who you idolized or looked up to at some point, didn't show you the love that you were looking for. Isiah Thomas paid Michael Jordan the same thing he did the year before that and the year before that. No attention at all. He paid him no attention at all. And I think that lack of acceptance from Isiah Thomas has led to the bitter feud that we continue to see by these two great NBA legends. But I do want to know what you guys think. Do you guys agree with Isiah Thomas's assessment of handshake-gate? I'll read some comments and then we'll move on to the next topic. I do want to shout out all the moderators. Grape Tea News, salute to you. Thank you so much for being here. Salute to Miami Heat Zone. You guys are awesome. Salute to you, young disciple. I think that I don't care whether Michael Jordan went to the league office to cry about it. He went to the media. He did a whole lot of crying about the brutal violence that was taking place in the NBA. He did, but it was brutal violence. And I do think that they needed a change. The brutal violence did not stop him from scoring. It did not stop him from becoming a great player, leading the league, getting scoring titles. None of that stopped Michael Jordan. The only thing he couldn't do was literally fly through the air because they were pulling him down. But somehow, even with all that brutal defense, he was still doing it. It didn't stop him. Nothing was going to stop Michael Jordan. He figured it out. But no, he didn't want to be beat up night in and night out, and nobody should have to be beat up. No, I'm definitely going to complain about the league being soft now. Michael Jordan complaining about brutal violence has zero to do with the lack of physical defense that we see in the league today, with the lack of any defense, with the horrible three-point shot influx. Oh, I'm going to complain about the league being soft today. It's softer than it was when Michael Jordan was crying. When Michael Jordan was crying about brutal defense, about being dragged down to the floor when you're mid-air, those things don't compare. Not at all. There's literally no comparison to 90s, early 2000s defense to today. Today's league is soft, softer than a baby's ass. I don't care that is what quote unquote started the league change. That's not true. Every single era has faced rule changes, league changes. Michael Jordan is not the first person to implement a rule change. It's not what started it. But because we want to sit here and jump over Kobe Bryant and compare LeBron James to Michael Jordan, where there is literally zero comparison, we're talking about someone who cannot shoot, cannot dribble. cannot handle the ball. Yikes. Okay, guys. I want to let everybody get some sleep, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. You know, when we think of Michael Jordan and we think of Isiah Thomas, we think of really great competition. That's something that's been missing from today's NBA, and the media has been questioning. So the media has been questioning, how can we make the NBA great again? And it does bring me to the next topic that we're going to discuss, which is Bill Simmons. He made an interesting comment and summed up what he thinks is easily the gift and the curse right now in the NBA. So I'm going to play that soundbite for you guys, and then we'll go ahead and react.
There's been so much what's wrong with the NBA stuff. The Steph LeBron thing last night was the solution and the problem at the same time, because it was the same thing for the Olympics too, right? It was awesome watching those guys. Hey, the old guys, look at it. They still got it. But it's still coming at the expense of everybody else. Like even yesterday, it's in that 8 o'clock. It's in the best spot. It's after football's over. And that's the signature game. And it's basically 2 500 teams. And it's guys that have been in the league since 2003 and 2009 respectively, and yet OKC wasn't on Christmas Day. Giannis wasn't on Christmas Day. Wemby was buried at the beginning of the day. And this is like, you're kind of doing this to yourself, but at the same time, I get it, because Steph and LeBron was awesome. You could go glass half full, glass half empty on it, but the fact that the Steph LeBron game was so good and sucked up so much oxygen from the day is actually kind of part of the problem. There's
Yes, Bill Simmons. You know, no shit, Sherlock. The NBA suffers because they refuse to promote the real talent in this league that exists. The Cavaliers barely have any nationally televised games. The Warriors and the Lakers are like dead last in the Western Conference, but they were the headliners of the night. That's a disgrace. Victor Wembanyama made history in the Garden. That was the marquee game of the night. And they were buried as the first game. And they still average pretty much the same amount of viewers as Steph and LeBron. You move them to 8 o'clock time slot when they're not competing against NFL, maybe they could have hit 10 million. Literally, Victor Wembanyama is the third player in NBA history to score as many points behind Tracy McGrady and Wilt Chamberlain on Christmas Day. Yet we're focused on LeBron James and Steph Curry. Complete disgrace. The NBA continues to show us all that they don't prioritize winning. They just want to showcase the influencers and individual greatness of one or two players that just won't retire. NBA doesn't want to promote team basketball. They don't want to promote the team basketball, the amazing basketball that's being put on display on both ends of the floor by teams like the Cavaliers, Orlando Magic, the Knicks, Oklahoma City. The list goes on. I personally thought the NBA embarrassed itself against the NFL on Christmas Day. The NFL gave the NBA the entire national broadcast space to fix their ratings, and they still couldn't make it happen. How can the NBA have a ratings problem? I thought Christmas Day was historical. What happened to that narrative? What happened to that story? Why is Bill Simmons saying that there's a problem? You know, what do you guys think? Are LeBron and Steph the NBA's gift and curse? I'll read some comments and then we'll take one phone call on this topic and then we'll move to the last topic of the night. Good vibe, Filipinas. Salute to you. I also saw someone by the name of Naz, first time in the room. Salute to you as well. Salute to everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. I really love the engagement. Let's see where we're at with likes. Last time I checked, we were at about 51. We're at 90 now. We have 135 people in the chat. Let's try to get to 120. Let's see if we can do it. LeBron and Steph are clearly not the cash cows. So if the entire NBA Finals over 5 games averaged 5 million views, they're not the cash cow. Victor Wembanyama should have been in the marquee spot, not them. I'd much rather have saw Wemby and the Knicks at 8 o'clock not competing against NFL. They would have beat the Lakers. They would have beat the Lakers versus Steph. It's obvious. The numbers are there. If they can get 5 million views at 12 p.m. and LeBron and Steph get 5 million views at 8 p.m., put the Knicks and Wemby in the 8 p.m. slot. Simple. LeBron and Steph they're not the cash cow. Steph Curry is. You put Steph Curry at 8 p.m. against anybody else, they would have probably done the same numbers. You put LeBron against Sacramento or LeBron against, another team, the ratings dip. People are tired of LeBron. They don't want to watch him anymore. He's not the biggest draw in basketball. No, LeBron's and it wasn't 8 million. It's a false report. They averaged the peak view was 8 million. They went to the game and then they shut it off. That's what happened. Let Adam Silver tell it. He'll just keep telling lies. Even if it was 8 million, that's a dismal number. That's still 70% less than when true legends of the game were playing. 70% decrease. Salute to you, Spurzan, for the super chat. Thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. Zeke is to Mark Jackson as Jordan is to Steve Kerr. I love it. Great comment. Shout out to It's Not That Serious for the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Some of these LeBron fans are legit delusional. They rather defend and fight for the narrative of LeBron instead of holding him accountable for what he actually does on the court. Absolutely. I mean, to me, we shouldn't even be there's nothing to defend here. People are not watching the NBA. They're not watching LeBron. They're not watching the NBA. They don't think that this is a good product. NFL dominated. They basically cremated the NBA in ratings. 65 million people watched. They had an average of 36 million people watching. It's pathetic. NBA is pathetic. Calling, guys. I'll take one phone call on this topic. Talk to me nice. Tell me how you feel. I'll continue to read some comments in the chat. The NBA used to be able to compete. The NBA at one point, NBA finals would come on, 30 million people were watching. Michael Jordan left the league in a better situation than he found it. LeBron James is not doing that. period. That might very well be true, but for some reason, people are committed to NFL. NFL is still bringing fans together. Hey, Funky Town, can you hear me? Thank you for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice. Let's see. 1 second. Bear with me. One second, Funky Town. Bear with me. 1 second. 1 second, Funky Town. I'll be with you. Give me a second.
Hello.
Alrighty, we are there. You're in here like swimwear. Can you hear me now?
Gotcha. I can hear you now.
Wonderful. Nice to hear from you. Talk to me nice. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he hit it on the nail. I mean, nail on the head on that one. Like that's part of the problem
Well, let
that
me
they're
ask
not
let me ask
promoting
you
who's winning.
this. Let me ask you this to
hmm
streamline this call and stay on track and get to the next topic. Why won't
Right.
the NBA promote young stars? What do you think is the reason for that?
Because they are the with the Camorra that they've created with the social media, the influencers, the whole machine that's around, especially around LeBron, with the clutch portion and everything like that. They've bought into that witch's brew, and they can't. It's like a drug; they can't get off of it because they don't want to. They aren't in the habit of looking at what really got you there, why you're successful, why as a product the NBA was what it was. They're too used to and risk averse to going out, and they think it's a risk to push out the new product, the new line. I mean, businesses do this all the time. You look at the auto industry in the 80s, in the 70s. They were making those big boats in the 70s, right? And it took the Europeans and the Japanese to come in and start taking away market share before they kind of got their act together. But even in that, they didn't get their act together until the 2000s. You really go back. I'm talking about U.S. market. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at this, they're risk averse, and they're listening to bean counters, they're listening to marketers and things like that, and they're not understanding that the thing that you should be doing is pushing the new ones up, and then seeing how the new model goes against the older model,
Right.
and let the market determine it. They're not, but they call themselves capitalists or whatever, and that's another discussion. What I'm saying is they're afraid to actually let that experiment happen, to let natural selection say, okay, it's time for me. Because if they do that, then the public, there will be absolutely, infrastructure has no clothes. It's it's going to be so obvious that what you've been pushing out here is crap, and you've been hiding the good stuff in some basically covering it up with crap instead of just saying, okay, look, we got some new shiny stuff. Let's check it out. Take 4 spin. Let's see if it works. Now that's just me. That's just my simple opinion. But I only have a Texas public school education.
I think you did a great job with this. Like, your commentary was on point, Funky Town. I think, NBA, they just can't get it together right now. I think that
No, they're not designed for it.
well, it's not even just that they're not designed for it. They don't want to. They don't want to
Right.
promote young stars because it will take away from whatever agreement they have with LeBron and, Clutch Sports.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah, I think that
I mean,
they
that's
just
what
they don't want to make the NBA better because it would dilute LeBron James's legacy or whatever they're up to. They're trying to protect whatever it is that that they're pushing. They don't care that fans are going to respond to, more competitive games. They don't care. They're still pushing LeBron and Steph.
the second round, televising second round of the draft. And Bronny, they're not
Yeah.
about competition.
Right.
They're about the
showing us,
Kardashians. They're not
proving it.
about
They're
right.
proving
They're
it to
actually
us every
showing you what
day.
they're about. Yeah,
Absolutely.
they've been doing it. And when people the bottom line is fans got to start understanding. You got to start voting with your feet and be like, okay, you know what? And I mean that's what's been happening. Like you said, the product. But how is it that the '98 Game 6 finals is still the highest rated game in the history of basketball? Still, by rating and by actual raw numbers, is the biggest game ever.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's awesome, okay? But if to hear these people talk, especially these bronzexuals, if you're gonna tell me this is your guy, explain that to me. Explain that how this dude's been there 10 times. And then if you want to talk about the lowest ones that have been watched throughout history, the ones in the top or the bottom 10 or whatever, go ahead and look at how he got more than half of the top bottom 10 viewed finals games and series.
I know. People
So
don't want to watch LeBron James. So the
here's
proof is
what's
in the
funny.
numbers. So
Yes, and
people
here's
don't
what's
want to
funny.
watch this brand of basketball.
But here's what's funny. They went away from the Spurs. Like really, the thing that kind of started all this was the Spurs and the Detroit series, that finals. When that finals happened, that one right there was what scared them because they were like, hold on, these dudes are playing defense. Both teams are playing defense. They don't have the flashiest of offensive, but they play as a team. They played, both of them played great team basketball. You saw great team basketball. And so you went and the ratings went down. Okay, because they were, the big fundamental and all the other stuff. But then they went and they said, okay, we gotta take away some defense. We gotta make it easier for their offense so they can so-called, these so much more skilled players can somehow show off their skills or whatever. Because it's a skills competition apparently. But now what we have a layup line and 3-point contest, and they have marshaled it this way. They got afraid especially because of the Spurs, and I truly believe that's as I remember, that's when the thing started changing, when they started saying we're going to do this. But the problem is the Spurs and the Detroit Pistons, the Lakers with Kobe, they had heart. No matter however you want to cut it, they had heart. They played both ends of the court. They put it out there. They didn't make excuses. Now what do you got? A bunch of excuses. A bunch of I need help. A bunch of I'm gonna go team up with two other dudes in my same draft class. All of us are in the same conference, and we're all lottery picks. That's like Michael Jordan saying, I'm going to go play with Olajuwon and Barkley.
It's laughable and insane.
No competition. Exactly.
Zero competition.
So we know it's not true. We know it's not
true.
true.
The league is soft. So anybody saying that it's not is crazy. But, thank you so much, Funky Town, for your phone call. You're awesome.
You got it. Hey, and Happy New Year to everybody.
Yes, Happy New Year.
And to you, obviously. And y'all hit the like button. And we're having a great night out here tonight. And appreciate all you guys. Let's keep this thing rolling into the next year.
Thank you so much, Funky Town. You as well. Okay, guys, I'm gonna read the super chats that came through, and then we're gonna roll. So salute to you, Naz. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Isiah's everlasting bitterness should show how genuine of a rivalry he had with MJ. It's why the NBA was at its peak in the 90s. No genuineness now. I cannot. It's just, you can tell that they have a problem with each other. I think even back then you could tell that they were more like frenemies. Isiah Thomas has this very snaky, sneaky, way about him. And Michael Jordan, we know that he's a stone cold killer, right? So I think that that kind of rivalry, that bitterness, it's something that It's something we just want to see in sports. It makes the sport more exciting. It makes basketball have an additional layer and edge that the games need, that the league needs. I miss that fire. And all these years later, they're in their 60s and they still hate each other. I love it. But salute to you, East Bay. East B 103. Happy 2025 to everybody. Thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. You're awesome, East B. And I love, love, love how you get everybody to smash the like button for me. So thank you so, so much. Yeah, we have a pretty interesting next topic. Very excited to chat about this. We've talked about 2 NBA legends and we've spoken about the ratings decline in the NBA in great length, right? What's crazy to me about that is how the mainstream media is just picking up this story about the NBA having a decline in ratings. This story about the NBA ratings decline is it's laughable to me. They have been in decline about 70 to 80% for years. I've been talking about the ratings in the NBA for a long time. Since the inception of my channel, I've been saying that nobody's watching the NBA. This has been a topic for me. It's aggravating that mainstream media is focusing on this now as if this is a new phenomenon. Like they just had some sort of epiphany that nobody's watching. When every single person was home in lockdown, nobody wanted to watch the NBA. More people watched Michael Jordan's Last Dance than they watched the NBA Finals. That's a disgrace. This has just been going on for more than a decade where the ratings have been so much lower. We've talked about physicality coming back to the sport. We've talked about rivalries and players hating each other, being more aggressive. And last night, we got some of that fire back from the Heat versus the Rockets. This was a great game. The Heat were down and they rallied back into it to win the game. Tyler Herro was balling and irritating the Rockets. He's talking shit and he's tossed on the floor. He was thrown like a goddamn rag doll on the court. 6 people were ejected. Tyler Herro reacts to it, so let's hear it.
Down, and the first thing I see is you going down, but then in the replay, obviously you and Thompson exchanging words. How did it all really kind of spark off there?
Just some 2 competitors going at it, playing basketball.
And then it got a little out of hand. It's not every single night that you have all those texts and all of those ejections. Was it building to that, or was it just a standard physical game that just had one of those igniting moments?
Just a physical game. I guess that's what happens when someone's scoring, throwing dimes, doing the whole thing. So I get mad too.
It's a fine line that can occur at an end of the game with that type of incident. Mm-hmm. How good was it you guys were in the position you were in from a scoreboard standpoint before you and Terry go off the floor?
Yeah, really important. Obviously, I came in, Nico was making the technical free throws, so he closed it out at the end. But, we really hang our hat on the defensive end, and that's where we think we won the game tonight.
Did anything happen leading up to that point where it felt like something like that could go down?
No, not at all. It was a regular game throughout. Thought we were playing, a competitive game, but I've never said a word to him. So, like I said, I don't know. It's cool though.
Well, it's new meaning to the moniker of TNT after something of that particular breakage there. But as a teammate, as a competitor, would you have any other response?
Nah, it's just natural instincts. We got to protect all our guys, but definitely Tyler at all costs. And, it's just natural instincts. And ain't trying to hurt nobody, but I just seen it out in the corner of my eye, and then that's just who I am.
Did it feel like it was leading to that, or was it just a regular physical game?
I think, yeah. I mean, obviously it's just physical. They're well coached. That's how they play. Very physical, great defensive team. But I think that just came out of nowhere. I didn't think we all expected that then.
One more thing about the incident. How quick does that occur in the sense of you defending a teammate, guys that you haven't been with forever, but you've been with for, almost coming up on a year now?
Yeah.
Just the automatic response that you're going to defend a teammate.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's natural instincts. It's who I am. But I got a lot of love for Tyler, man. It's just a great dude, and we got to protect him. So it's natural instincts.
What was your vantage point when Amem and Hero got into the scuffle? Do you know what happened there?
I didn't see it live, but I rewatched it, and they were in each other's face, bumping chests a little bit, and one guy's stronger than the other.
What was your vantage point on kind of just the scuffle that happened and kind of the lead up to that moment?
Two guys getting caught up, and one of them fell, and then the scramble happened.
Describe the emotions at the end of that game.
I mean, that's our team chemistry.
I like that Tyler Herro talks his shit. He played a good game, but he got hopped. Okay? No one is going to forget that. And it doesn't matter that the Heat won the game. Rockets are like that, okay? Let me just say that. The Rockets are really like that. They really are. It doesn't matter that the Heat won. Ime Udoka also reacts. I'm going to play his reaction for you guys.
What was your vantage point when Amem and Hero got into the scuffle? Do you know what happened there?
I didn't see it live, but I rewatched it, and they were in each other's face, bumping chests a little bit, and one guy's stronger than the other.
The refs, I guess, did you say something that got you thrown out? Did the refs say why you got thrown out?
What I said gets me kicked out. I'd be kicked out every game. So it's very minimal. He was talking to a staff member. I was talking to him, and I think he's trying to protect his crew.
Before that, just with the lead being erased again, does it feel like a little deja vu from a couple nights ago?
Yeah, I mean, the scoring at the end in both of those games obviously stands out, and that's something that has to be addressed. We go back and forth during the game at times, have our ups and downs, and then when you can rely on your defense and hold a team to certain numbers. I mean, they finished with 23 in that quarter, and they had a ton of free throws at the end and the technicals and all that. So we are guarding well enough and holding Minnesota to 100 until they go on their run, but we struggling to score at the end, and so that's something that needs to be solved. Until Dylan and Cam hit the 2 threes, we had 12 points at that point. So, teams are scoring 104 with all the free throws, and scoring to that low of a number. Obviously, those should be wins for us if we're able to score the ball, and so got to be better at the end for sure.
What reason Fred was ejected?
Mark said he bumped him. I think they were obviously talking about the timeout for the 5-second call. I watched the replay, and Fred motioned that he did timeout, brushed him, and that was it. Minimal again.
You went on the run to start the third.
Okay. I love Ime Udoka. Okay. He's very stoic. He's tough. He's like the strong, silent type. I appreciate him. You can tell he's a real basketball sicko. The kind of sicko that JJ Redick claims that he is. That's who Ime Udoka is. He thinks everything is no big deal. Let them draw blood, no problem. Altercation, never heard of her. It's minimum. It's minimal, no problem. He said the league and the team that they know the league, they know what their team is about. That's what he said. They know what it is. That's what he's saying. They know what it is. Talk shit and get hopped. That's basically what he's saying. Teams are not just leaving the floor with an easy win. They're going to beat up on you. Like, hey, win or lose, we fought. We're not soft. You will not win games on us like it's sweet. They basically bitch slapped Tyler Herro. They pretty much did. They bitch slapped him on the court. I love it. What do you guys think? Was the Heat versus the Rockets? Is it a glimpse of what the future of the NBA could be? Getting back toward greatness? Can the NBA be great again? I'll read some comments and then I'll have time for just one more phone call tonight. And we need to keep it concise, okay, guys? About a minute or less so we can get everybody off to sleep to enjoy their New Year's Eve, bring in the new year the right way. Thank you guys for being here tonight. It's just been a pleasure to burn the midnight oil with you. Seriously, I love it. I love my late nights with you guys. So please do me a favor and get the likes up for me. Like. Thank you so much. I'll read some comments and I'll throw the phone number up. You are so funny, pizza time. Facts. Ime's coaching like it's 95. He is with the shits. I love it. Miami did get punked and they won the game. Yeah, it's really not. We want to see competition. We want to see them at least pretend that they want to win the game. Seriously. Insane. Call in, guys. Talk to me nice. I don't think Hero did want to fight. He just wanted to play basketball. But you know what guys do is they throw the rock and they hide their hand, right? So they start popping shit on the court and they try to make it like they're not talking to anybody specific. He was clearly popping shit all night and they weren't having it. You don't get to say little slick shit and, oh, I didn't say anything to him. That's what happened. He just said it to somebody else. And got hopped. Got mollywopped all over the floor. Thanks for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice.
Oh, hey.
Hi.
Hello?
Caller from Canada.
Oh.
Talk to me nice. Who do I have on the line?
Oh, that was Jamal. Sorry. I didn't know I was going to get through. Sorry, let me just mute this real quick.
Hi, Jamal.
My bad.
I'm so sorry. Hello?
Hey. Yeah, I was just calling because, well, first of all, I want to say I subscribe to the channel. This is my first time being here.
Well, thank
Secondly,
you so much. Thank you so much for being here.
And secondly, I wanted to say that a few things that I think that's driving ratings down. I say it's good, and I don't want to dump too much on LeBron, whatever. I would say obviously Adam Silver and the way they run the league. I maybe some of the advertisers, I don't know. It just seems like the league has gotten a lot more syrupy. They're overpaid, very intelligent. There's not much will to want to. They just don't have the same fire that they used to have. You see it in every aspect of the game, from the gameplay to the All-Star weekend to everything. They just don't seem to have the same interest. And it's all. And I remember years ago when Gucci was at the game, he was like, "Oh, I don't really care about the teams, I only care about the players." And I think that mentality is spreading, and now it's showing itself. People don't care that much about feeding. People don't care that much about the cities they play for. They don't care much about the fans while they do all the load management that they do and wrestling. And they want it tough. And so they don't want to compete. I feel like Disney, with their contract with ESPN and all that, I think that's ruining basketball. It's so syrupy. And sports media is also not what it used to be back in the days of inside stuff and just, Sports Center. It's, all that's gone. And so as a result, I think the league and no quality threes being shot. So my point is, just to sum this up, is that I think that the climb of the league is I would say death by 1,000 cuts. And it started, I think, during the LeBron Miami time period, because that's when you started to see the league sort of say, okay, this is a direction we're going into. And it became very syrupy, not much loyalty. Obviously, the key going to Golden State was the pinnacle of that. But I think that it's around that time that he started to go in this sort of slow death.
Okay.
Something
So
about
I
that.
guess my last question to you to close out this call, and thank you for your comments. I think that they were great. But is this a sign? So do you think that the Heat versus the Rockets, do you think that this is a sign that the NBA is getting better or headed in the right direction?
Maybe it could just be the attitude of teams. I mean, one team is coached by Udoka, the other team is run by Pat Riley. So, and Miami is a kind of a tough franchise. So maybe, especially if the Rockets start to become a premier team, because this is very much a monkey see do type of league. So if the Rockets start to become prominent, Jalen Green becomes, I think that might have an effect. But right now, I can't see this as one off. You'll have odd games like this, but overall, I don't think this will be the norm.
Yeah. No, so it won't be the norm because the NBA aren't typically nationally televising these games. So they're focused on the teams that aren't playing defense at a high level, or basketball at a high level, period. But thank you so much for calling in. And what was your name again?
My name is Jamal.
Well, nice to hear from you, Jamal. Thank you so much for calling into Sports Tea and talking to me nice. I appreciate you. And I hope you have a very happy new year.
You too.
All righty. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Wow. I can't believe that, this comes like our time together is about to end, guys. I really hope that everyone is safe today. If you're going out, if you're driving, be super safe. Don't drink and drive, please. Be safe out there. Um, try to stay home if you can. Um, you know, have fun though. Bring in this new year. Just happy and healthy. And don't wait until January 1st to start whatever it is that you want to change. So, I appreciate everybody here. Thank you so much for staying up late with me. Thank you so much for liking the video. You guys are just truly awesome. We got to about 112 likes. If you can do me a favor on your way out and smash the like button. Uh, like I said, Happy New Year to all. I'll have some members only content coming soon. And yeah, I look forward to coming back and going live with you guys again and just chopping it up about some of our favorite topics. So have a wonderful evening. If it's morning near you, have a wonderful day. And thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And like I said, Happy New Year.